I got a question for you. Would you say, in your opinion, that love is enough? I've been having a conversation with my younger self, and I've realized that my perception about love has drastically changed. And if you were to ask me, I would honestly tell you at this point in my life, no, it's not enough. Because you can still love someone and feel abandoned by them, neglected, unheard, unseen. You can be loved by someone, and even though love involves care and closeness, affection and trust, I think that those are all completely different things too. Like they're not synonymous with each other. And as much as love is an emotion, I wonder if it's a chemical reaction to a particular type of action or a collection of other emotions that we then identify as love. So I'm just curious what your take is on this. I know it's like out of left field, probably has nothing to do with this reading because I have no idea what it is to expect, but it's something that I even just asked literally moments ago before posting this on my threads. So if you're on there, by the way, let's be friends. I'm just curious what your take is on that. I'm curious. And there is no right or wrong answer, by the way. We're not going to have like a whole freaking ego battle about it, okay? So you're allowed to have opposing opinions from myself or others, but I'm just curious. Is love enough? Let me know. Hey, and hello to the soul fam here. If you know me, welcome back. If you don't, what's up? I am Kat Nicoletta Monroe. Welcome to K&M Witchery. Today I am using the Truth Tarot by the lovely NKH Tarot. She creates beautiful decks, and I highly recommend having a little gander at their website. I think it's literally just nkhtarot.com. Hopefully I'm right. The first card out is the Six of Wands. Beautiful. Let's see what else we got here. We got the Fool and the Ace of Cups with the Nine of Coins. Wow, bottom of the deck is the Seven of Swords, so we're going to put that out there. I'll probably shuffle in some more. All right, energies, whatever the soul fam needs to hear right now. Could have jumped into something new in your life, something that kind of tickles your fancy, something that was likely intuitively, if not, I mean, emotionally, those are kind of the same two parts of the brain anyways, led. And I think right now you're at this point where you're seeing really beautiful results based on your efforts. I love to see it. This is like my favorite part of my job, when I work so diligently with clients, even if it's just in one session. I don't care how many sessions I've ever had with you, okay? Or it's just online. Point is, I love to see y'all step out of your limiting beliefs and grab hold of everything that you've ever wanted. And the fact that the Nine of Coins comes out here as well shows me that it's very tangible right now, okay? You have the action steps and you're now proceeding upwards. Like I just heard upward trajectory, not projectory, but interesting that trajectory. So like maybe something that you have projected for yourself in the future at one point or another may have seemed impossible. Let me just take a sip finally. And I'm saying that also because of the Seven of Swords energy, right? So like this is kind of like that doubt, usually by like external means, you know? It's like you have Seven of Swords, 7 different ideas, 7 different thoughts, 7 different ways and means of accomplishing something, and then someone goes shh and silences and takes like 5 of those swords away, so all you're left with is 2, you know? It's like You may have in the past shared your desires, your plans, your goals with people, or maybe you really didn't and you just like started doing whatever it is that you're doing. Of course, it's going to range for everyone tuning in. And like you've noticed that people kind of doubted you, or they didn't support you as much as you kind of hoped they would. And now the proof is in the pudding. One of y'all might literally be eating pudding. Like I'm seeing one of those like pudding cups, like those individual ones. Who's eating pudding out here? You know, I don't know why spirit just showed me pudding, specifically a pudding cup. I'm seeing chocolate and I got a nose itch on that. What is this? Intuition is so weird sometimes. I love it. Okay, so like what's the point of this reading then? Seems like everything's going well. Oh, the Two of Swords and the Tower comes out. Okay, sorry I asked. All right, soul fam. So with change comes great responsibility. With change come shifts in routines and dynamics and relationships that perhaps maybe you hadn't exactly wanted to feel, process, align with, go through, etc. Right? You may have, in fact, not every single one of y'all, but you may have actually shed a lot of tears over this. The cause is going to range for everyone tuning in, okay? I take into grand consideration that this is, in fact, a YouTube reading, okay? So as precise and concise as I want to be, if you want something just for you, knmwitchery.com, but collectively, you may have really struggled to actually push forward and make that leap towards your goals and successes, okay? And like notice how there's stairs in both of these quote unquote success cards here, right? Like we're moving on up. Everything's lit up for us beautifully. It's time for us to collect. That must have been a breakthrough moment for you. And so I believe that the premise of this reading for you today, if you've stumbled on here and you're still here several minutes in, yeah, we're gonna acknowledge the simple fact that like a lot crumbled in order for you to put it back together. I just heard put yourself back together. It's also 3:49 p.m. my time. 3:49 is yes to me. It's like a really big yes. Don't ask me why. I have my own different identifiers with different numbers and shit. I don't really always relate to like Google translations of things. But that personally, that is my big yes card, right? So like, yes, it was meant to happen. Yes, it was, dare I say, even meant to be more painful, right? Because we're unable as humans, to distinguish happiness without the pain that sometimes happens, right? Like we actually require that type of polarity. We require all different types of things to occur when it comes to emotions, when it comes to experiences, the good, the bad, right? And I'm not saying that like bad things need to happen in order for you to move forward, but like sometimes they do. Sometimes we actually call in these tower moments for ourselves because we're not always brave enough to do it ourselves. So an example of this, like off the bat, you really hate your job, okay? Like you dislike your manager, you dislike what it is that you do, you know, for X amount of hours a day, you're exhausted. Mondays are like the biggest drag because you have to go back to this routine, this redundance, this like I'm just hearing intoleration. Is that a word? But you never actually pulled the trigger and gave your notice and applied elsewhere, or have taken other people's suggestions through networking to join other types of employment opportunities, whatever they may have been, right? You were always thinking about it, but then you're like, I don't want to start all over again. Or like you kind of come up with like different types of excuses, right? Because that fear of change and feeling a loss and starting new and like feeling new at something, you know, kind of brings in the notion that we're really bad at something all over again. And nobody likes that. I've learned to personally, because it means like if I'm uncomfortable, it means that I'm learning. You know, I've kind of changed my perception about certain things. And I believe that a lot of y'all are starting to do the same for yourself, or at least I hope. Because yeah, like something externally from you, like I don't think that for a lot of you tuning in, some of you, you're like, I'm ready for this, let it all crumble, like it's gotta go, I have to do this. I'm thinking about myself, I love myself. If nobody comes with me, or if no one believes in me, F it. Like I'm all in. Love that energy. I relate. And it still causes that tower moment, whether we inflicted it or not. For most of y'all tuning in, it was externally inflicted, right? Like you started really succeeding, and maybe you noticed that like people aren't really happy for this version of you that's actually obtaining so much more of what it is that they want, something that like really fulfills them. Like your cup is now being refilled and reimbursed by your actions, by your ability to feel independent and build something that's just for you. What that is, it could be work related because these are coins, but like physical, it could literally be, it could be moving, changing locations and like homes and things like that. It could be pregnancy for some reason that just came out. She's not pregnant here, but like this little kind of, I don't know, whatever. Could be pregnancy. I said work already. No, it could be like your physical body. Maybe you've taken control. You've started something new, a different type of routine, started hitting the gym or any other kind of workout. Because no, the only workout that you obtain is not just at the gym. Just put that out there. And someone, or maybe a group of people, didn't like it. They can no longer take advantage of you. They perhaps maybe didn't believe in you for whatever reason. Maybe they projected a lot of their own doubts and insecurities, and yet here you are actually accomplishing what they believed they never could. The audacity. How rude. You know, so I can understand, like, again, like the polarity about change, because change is wonderful and it really optimizes our growth. And like, we're here to change. Okay. If you're still the same person like 10 years later, that's weird, respectfully. Like, what do you mean? Like you haven't healed at all? You haven't changed anything internally? You're still with the same bad habits, running with the same team? Living in the same place is a little different, because I know people literally live in the same home for like ever. Can't relate. I've been moving house to house since I was like a little one. But the point that I'm making is that like there must be an evolution for there to actually be some sort of fulfillment, right? And what that evolution of fulfillment is differs per person, as it should, okay? Because not everybody is on the same trajectory, has the same goals and all that as the other person, right? But like the disappointment I'm really sensing around y'all, and you may have very well, soul fam, decided to cut people off or something too, maybe like really retract your energy, and cut people off and such like that, and it hurt. I can sense that. I'm really pulled right here to all of the phases of the moon, right? Like you really, like you have allowed yourself to transform. I'm not even going to be surprised, soul fam, if a lot of this transformation that happened physically occurred because of the internal changes. Oftentimes, so I've noticed in society, people don't change internally until their external realities change, right? Like, I'm not going to give examples, but like grand things occur and then it changes you. Or like a simple example, which is not so simple, but like, let's say a what's it called? Like an almost death experience. That's not the verbiage, but you know what I'm saying, okay? but you didn't die, but then it's just like, wow, like you have like this whole like grand realization about life, and now you care for yourself more and you're kinder to strangers, and you maybe decided to do more of what it is that you love, right? But it had to take that external thing to happen in order for you to change. When you choose yourself without anything seemingly, allegedly being wrong outside of you, and you still stand 10 toes down in your truth, and you say, you know what, I want this, and I want something grander or greater than what is currently being presented to me. I'm just hearing someone say, I don't want to settle. Like, am I settling? Is this it? And so you desired more from yourself, you know? And it doesn't mean that absolutely everything has to change, but like, let's say you wanted just more from yourself. You wanted to be a stronger, healthier, more fit version of yourself, right? So you started making those changes on your physical body. And again, for some reason, that caused a disarray. So what's the advice here from a beautiful soul fam? Advice for the soul fam. Queen of Coins, continue to stand in it. Now, regardless of gender, the Queen of Coins is one that is incredibly humble, okay? Embodies so much of the spiritual, the emotional, and the mental into their physical body, okay? In other words, ground yourself, okay? Because it seems like whatever it is that you are obtaining in your life, soul fam, is going to continue to progress forward, okay? And you can sabotage it, all right? That's always an option. One that I would recommend not pursuing, but hey, I mean, we all have our causes and reasons, but I could biasly say here from the energy and not really knowing you, or maybe I do, but the point that I'm making here is, I think that you're ready, you know, and yeah, going through some of that difficult muck and guck and pain and heartache, disappointment of others and yourself, like these realizations, like these shifts, it's going to pay off. It's going to be worth it. It's kind of like the price you have to pay in order to blank whatever it is that you're working towards. You know, there must be some types of sacrifices changed. Sorry, what, Spirit? And you will find the right types of people to align with you, especially if it means that like you're completely shifting away from like life as you knew it, because some of you have and or are or will soon be, again, everyone's on different timelines here, going through like a massive change, okay? And you might kind of have these fears coming right up, wondering if you're going to be alone or if it's actually going to work out, right? Because like a lot of the times what stops us from pushing forward and deciding to change and actually implementing the action required to solidify that change, right? Because change is more than just like a thought and like a, all right, I change now. Like you have to actually act as if, right? You got to put yourself into that, get the ball rolling, suck at something new for a hot second until you start building up the confidence, right? In whatever it is that you're doing. And oftentimes people sabotage actually doing more of that action because they don't know, will it be a success? Will I still be loved? Will this person still be in my life? Will I have to make who knows what kind of other sacrifices, you know? The thing is though, is you don't know until you grow, okay? And they're also called growing pains for a reason. It's uncomfortable. I'm definitely not one of those readers, y'all, that's going to tell you that like everything is always forever going to be easy breezy, lemon squeezy, because it's unrealistic to the human experience, okay? We are to experience a broad range of emotions and opportunities and failures. I'm saying failures with little bunny ears quotations because that is also an illusion. You never truly fail anything. Rejection is protection. And there's always something you can learn from that. That's a win. failure, like true failure in my personal opinion, if there ever was such a thing, is absolute stagnation. Like you're failing yourself by denying yourself more love, more health, more opportunities for you to actually align with people whom you can say really care for you, who trust you, who support you, and you them, right? Like how many times have we given our love and support to someone and they just leave you disappointed, high and dry, sitting here going like, oh, okay. The best thing you can do then is put that attention back onto yourself, right? Because you at least would appreciate it. You wouldn't take it for granted, or who knows what else, right? Like I think a lot of y'all are actually going through some really deep shit that most people do not know, which is good, honestly. I don't think that we should always proclaim the difficulties that we're going through in life until we have accomplished them enough that like no one can hurt that version of you anymore. You know what I mean? Like there's oftentimes, and I'm very vulnerable with y'all, and I want to be intimate with you when it comes to my healing journey on all fronts too. And I definitely do that more so on my Patreon, because I want to humanize this entire thing for y'all too, right? And just a reminder, it's not always easy, but it is always worth it, okay? So maybe some of y'all just needed that like friendly reminder today, to continue to keep on going. Because we've also got the 10 of coins out here too. Like the outcome that you are perceiving for yourself, that you're projecting forward, that you are moving in an upward trajectory towards. Like, I don't know why these words just keep wanting to like be repeated and shit. I also have the death card that came out and I heard stop. So there's going to be no more cards being pulled. All of those tears will allow a new version of yourself to bloom, soul fam. Okay. So death is never a true ending, okay? It is a new beginning. One that we don't always see just yet, okay? Death is a transmutation of energy. There is a Scorpion here that I'm really getting pulled to. Is the death the Scorpio? So it could very well be, I'm recording this during Scorpio season, so it could be end of October, mid-November that you're really seeing a lot of this, whatever this is, come into fruition, right? And dates aside, if that didn't really resonate with you, if you keep pushing forward, your dreams will come true. The pain will be worth it is what I'm saying. And if we're talking about like a physical thing, like the pain of like repairing your muscles every single time you work them out and stuff, you know, like it's worth it because months, years later, you accomplish like your God-like bod. You know what I'm saying? Like whatever it may be for you, soul fam, you're in this like strange transitional moment right now where I think for a lot of y'all, things have already completely fallen apart. And now you're setting like a brand new foundation. You're building it from the ground up. And now you get to decide who is going to be in your corner, who you're going to involve in your life. Are you shifting your environment entirely? Relocation must never be underestimated. And I think a lot of y'all are really getting pulled to shift environments entirely. To move cities, homes, continents even. I think it's going to be really worth it though. So there's like this air of disbelief because the pain is almost like flooding through, but that's also because like you no longer require this fear. You no longer require this limiting belief and this doubt and this like, you know, false sense of failure anymore. That's why you're having like this exhale of emotions and like, yeah, you may feel kind of kooky. You're just human. You're allowing that version of yourself once upon a time who never thought it was possible to actually start witnessing the possibilities that you have successfully begun to build for yourself. That's a big moment. So let that aspect of yourself go, because now you no longer have to hang on to those bits and pieces of you that keep you stuck and stagnant. Okay? Especially if those bits and pieces of you weren't even instilled by you. They could have been instilled by parents, by social media, by just media in general, just like social, I guess, expectations and acceptances and things like that, right? Like it could be friends, it could be authority, people that you looked up to and trusted at one point. It could have been your teachers, right? Like maybe a teacher told you that you would never amount to anything, and then here you are, like on a brink of a new scientific discovery. You know, like that does something to us is what I'm saying, right? And it's greater than a I'll show you kind of a thing. It comes with a great profound internal shift as well. And a lot of that I think is emotional for y'all. I'm sensing a lot of tears. And I wish I could just give y'all a hug. It's okay. I cry with you too, you know. I cry a lot. I'm very emotional because I'm very intuitive. It's one and the same. Sensitivity, by the way, is a freaking superpower. And yet, oftentimes, we've been taught that like being overly emotional or overly sensitive is like a weakness. I genuinely believe in the opposite, and perhaps I'm biased, so freaking be it. But the fact of the matter is, for you to be able to somatically experience your emotions, other people's emotions, your thoughts, their thoughts, right? Like this is Empath Problems 101 over here, hypervigilance on fleek, woo. You are able to do that. So while it's really uncomfortable and thus deemed as a negative or a weakness or something, it's the opposite. Not everyone's capable of doing this. Most people will actually continue to stay in their whatever until they're forced to step out of whatever it is that they themselves refuse to feel, to go through, to grow through. Who's the weak one? Respectfully. It takes strength to stand up for yourself or others, to demand change, especially when you are living whatever realities that you're living that keep you stuck, that want you small and suppressed. And you're letting that light shine? What? You're living in your authenticity? What? More of that. The snaps were actually more poetic snaps, but Spirit did say we're done here too, so it came with a double meaning today. I want to thank y'all so much for tuning in. I genuinely hope that this reading helped anyone who needed it. Please continue on this journey. I know it's not always pretty. I know that it comes with some loss, but remember, no loss ever comes without a new beginning. Write that down. I think I just found the title of this video. Okay, so it's about to get real good for y'all. Your dreams are about to be like tangible. Like you can actually be like, I did it, I'm doing it. And with that will come a completely different type of soul family, will come a different type of self-actualization. It'll bring about a new chapter for yourself. Hell, maybe even an entirely new book. And that right there is something that you will never regret. A grand regret from those whom are on their deathbeds. Gentle old people whom are about to exit this reality. The regrets of them not doing particular things run very high. Why let that be you? tiny story time. I randomly went to like Berlin for a night. Fun. And in the midst of traveling, my train got, let's just call it delayed. It was canceled. But anyways, politically speaking, Germany's doing something and Polish trains weren't allowed to come through. So I had to like take the subway out into Poland. And then anyways, the point of the matter is, during this shift in transportation for myself, and I'm a solo traveler for the most part, I stumbled across an older couple whom was on this initial train that I was supposed to be in, and they were actually from Toronto too. So I'm like, yo, like my people, like I love my intuition. My intuition's like, go talk to them. And I'm like, all right, facts. I'm like, whatever. So, you know, I approached them, and lo and freaking behold, you know, for those of y'all who don't know, I am primarily from Toronto. But in any case, so they're an older couple, and they were traveling all of Europe for I think like 2 to 3 months. And they were saying how so many people thought that one of them were dying. Sorry, I laugh in uncomfortable situations. And they were like, how ridiculous is that? But the truth of the matter is they waited until just before, if not after. I never asked for age because I don't care about that personally. But they were up there, you know, and they were like, we waited so long for us to be able to experience this. And the gentleman looked at me and he's like, I'm so glad that you've realized at your young age the power behind living and taking a chance and experiencing things, because he's like, I wish we would have started a little bit sooner. And they're having a grand old time, and I genuinely hope that they're happy and healthy and thriving right now. It was just such a beautiful connection to experience. But it's little things like that that just give you this fresh reminder that like, it's never too late, it's never too early, and it is always worth it, even though it's uncomfortable. So, cheers to a life of no regrets. I'll drink to that every day of my life. So fam, like, subscribe, comment your resonances down below. Definitely let me know what you think about that initial question, because I'm really curious. Is love enough? Let me know. I'll catch you guys really soon then, okay? Okay, bye.